Hi, everybody. We're back. We're back in the studio. I'm your host, Drew. Welcome back to the Prophetic podcast. I'm here with Kendrick Leblanc. You already know him from the Telling on Myself podcast.
Yo. Hey, hold on. What my little turn? I don't get a turn. Oh, yeah, there we go. All right. Nah.
Keep,
I'm just playing.
You need another one?
Nah.
And a bomb? Oh, that's not it. All right, we back. Welcome back. Good to see you guys again. Thank you for joining us again. Quick announcements. Our live show is November 10th. The ticket link is hot now, so you can go online and get your tickets. I won't tell you the price. I don't got time to explain all that, but start at 15. There's different tiers. But yeah, come and check us out at Celestial Beer Works, the satellite location. And that is going to be on November 10th. It's a Friday. Doors open at 7:30. There'll be vendors there, Soulful Spaces, Kate's, Sweet Kate Bakes. We'll have Haley's Eats. We'll have a beer coming out that night. DJ Binister will be there. Hello Studios will be doing the videography for it. Becky will be there with us. Just come hang out. It'll be a vibe. So, November 10th. Y'all better be there. I'm going to be mad if y'all not. It's actually our second anniversary.
Okay, yeah,
And it's our first live show.
Okay.
And it's our 1 year anniversary with Celestial as a brand partner. Go by and see them. They'll give you 15% off.
All things to celebrate.
Oh, yeah, man. It's a celebratory night. Don't come in there judging. Just come in there and hype this shit up. That's all I need y'all to. Yeah, you know how people be. Well, you could have did this. Well, why don't you go do it?
Man, you got to live in the moment.
You got to
enjoy
the moment. So
man.
y'all come enjoy the moment with us. It'll be happening next month. We're about 5 weeks out. So, anyways, how you been?
Man, great. I've been pretty good, man.
Blessed, black, and highly favored.
Man, I've been all of the above, man. Just maneuvering through life.
Oh, put your mic down. Let them see your handsome face. Pause. Let them see your. There you go. Look.
Michael Stewart.
There you go. Looks good. All right, man.
Yeah.
So what's been on your mind, buddy?
Man,
We had a good conversation going on the way over here in the traffic.
Yeah, I agree. Did you want to just jump right into it?
Why not?
Let the people know how you feel.
Do it.
Tell them how you feel.
This week was rough. This week was my mother's birthday. And for the first time in all of my life, we didn't have any contact on her birthday. And that really hurt me to my core. Really, really hurt. So, Mom, if you're out there listening, I'm sure you might be. You might find us on the app if you know how to use your phone, which you really don't. So, happy birthday. But, we haven't really had a lot of contact, man. And it kind of got me thinking on the note of, or on the wavelength of, why are specific, I'm black, so I got to speak for black families.
Yeah.
The black family structure is just not as intact as when I look across the aisle and see other people, other cultures stick together. It feels like that. Now, I don't know what everyone's household is like, obviously, right, because I'm not there.
Right.
But looking at my particular example, I just felt like I wish that my family particularly was equally or in sync, right? And so not having access to her this week made me think about that, because that is really primarily the reason. There's a lot going on in my family that I won't get too deep into, but there's a lot of things that I just had to reflect on this week, man. And I was wanting to ask you how you felt about the black family structure.
Man, I love the black family structure for what it is, and just out of curiosity, why haven't y'all talked for so long?
So my mother, in short, has some mental health issues, right? And throughout her life cycle, great woman, beautiful soul. I'm not going to take anything away from her, but there were things there's examples of times and places where things could have been different to kind of circumvent some of that. And so with that in play, and then, finances coming to the forefront, right? There's always the infighting about, well, I'm gonna get this and I'm gonna get that, and you don't deserve, you know how it comes when money comes into play. And so you combine those things as a powder keg. And so when we had our first child, I sat and I looked at my daughter and said, well, my story was this, and my back history, my backstory was this. And if I want that narrative to change for her, I have to remove said backstory to a certain degree. Like, I don't want to introduce her to certain negative aspects that I had to encounter all my life, right? I want the people that are around her in her life to be more influential versus decorative. I want them tearing her down. I don't want them, making her have insecurities, or she's a biracial child. Like I don't have a lot of that in my family. That's one thing. Like she's my kid. Well, they don't really care for me that much. You know what I mean? Like when you start looking at
and she's biracial on top of that.
You know how that shit goes. So it's like you start adding, doing the math. It's like I don't want my kid to grow up with that too, because I know what that shit felt like, having all the BS your whole life, and you just trying to live and enjoy life and grow, and so I told myself I gotta go, man. Like that's the hardest thing. I tell you this, it's the hardest thing in my life I ever had to do, was to just walk away, and it's not easy. And people will look at you and say, "Why the hell would you walk away from your family? How could you do that?" Because to me, at this juncture in my life, it's just a title.
You sound like your family structure was pretty like traumatic.
I won't say it was traumatic all the way through, because when it was good, right? But when it went downhill, it never came back up. So there was a time in my life when everything was tight, everything was good, people were together, everyone was in sync, nobody was fighting. Grandpa died, and things changed drastically.
Really?
Yes.
How drastic?
He left a lot behind. We'll leave it at that.
Okay.
There you go. So you could you could do the math. But when that happened, I started to notice, I was like, man, look, the legacy that he left behind, I don't know that I'll have that. So I have to build my own. The things that he left behind that would be beneficial to generations, don't know if that'll be in place. So I got to build my own. And when I started to see all that kind of stuff happen, I removed myself. But this week made me think about all that. Typically, I don't have to think about it, because I've gone through therapy. I've dealt with it. I've addressed it. I know how to handle it. I've moved on in my life. Mm-hmm. But it's like this week, it was like, man, October 4th is her birthday. I was like, at work, I was like, shit, it's her birthday and I ain't talked to her. That's weird. Like typically on our birthday morning, we always talk. But I don't even have access. I don't know how to find her. I don't know. I just don't have any access to her. And people would probably say, well, that's crazy. You don't talk to you. It's not that. It's just you gotta kind of, when you have a kid and a business and a family and all these things going on, your mindset changes. Yeah. If it doesn't, you're crazy. It has to change. Like, sure. So that, for me, that's really what it's been this week.
Like as a part of your like that therapeutic process, did any of the therapy ever involve like you having to interact with them? Like reaching out to your mother, parents, cousins, family, whoever. It was
advised to try. Like that thing I sent you this week where the guy said one more time.
Yeah.
I did give it. I get it like 50 more times, right? So, when I maxed out, I overextended myself.
That's how you feel?
Yeah, I definitely feel that way because it wasn't reciprocated, right? Like,
so if you did it about 50 times and it wasn't reciprocated out of 1 through 50. 51 is too much, huh?
Man, I was at 50 already. Like, what
I'm saying? So 51 is too much, huh?
To me,
so you can reach a limit to where
I feel like you can. I feel like let's put it like this: if I'm single with no kids and it's just me, I got to worry about.
Yeah.
And I'm not doing all this podcast business things, and not worried about shows and all that. Providing opportunities. If I'm not trying to do something bigger than myself, well then maybe I spend more of I exert more of myself. But honestly, man, like it becomes emotionally taxing at some point.
Understand.
And you got to self-preserve, because if I don't self-preserve, none of this stuff happens. I can't be a good dad. I can't get my things done every day. Like it's not about me. A lot of people will say, "Oh, you're selfish." No, not really.
Well, it sounds shocking that like even the therapist would only advise things, I guess, or methods or whatever. I don't know what they
told
you to do.
She told me, try again.
Try what? Like
try to make amends.
Literally reach out to call.
Try to salvage what you can. But she's like, but at some point, and this is just me being very blunt, and she didn't say it in this context or in these words, but what I took from was sometimes you have to let shit go if you want to grow.
Yeah.
Right? You gotta, no matter who it is or what it is, when it's run its course, you have to be willing to let go of things. And a lot of times I feel like we're not willing to let go, and that could be your detriment.
Yeah. I feel that, bro. I feel that. I understand that. And for the majority of my life, I feel like I felt the same way. So when I think about family, I think about, I put family in a type of, maybe like a unique type of context.
Yeah.
It's like, with family, no matter what, to a degree, you're supposed to have, each other's back. You're supposed to be there for family. You're supposed to be willing to reconcile for family, so on and so forth.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So like in my mind, that's what a real strong family structure would kind of look like. That ability to do all of those things. And so even just like listening to you with just saying like, man, I've exerted all of like my energy, my effort, et cetera, and listening to even just kind of like the ways that your therapist even kind of advised you to sort of like reach out. I feel like, bro, the interesting thing about the whole context, like the whole family context, is hold on, time out. I lost my train of thought. Oh wait, you can edit this part, right?
I can do whatever I need to do. Yeah.
All right, yeah. You definitely got to edit this part. Hold on,
I got you.
1 second. I'm trying to put this into words real quick.
And even without, we don't got to edit it out, man. This shit,
It's
supposed to be real.
Yeah, it's real.
Tell them, audience, be yourself.
It's real, but I mean, come on now.
Audio Slave said, "Be yourself. That's all that you can do."
Yeah. I feel you. But we got a goal though. we trying to do something specific.
No, but like,
something big.
but to give you even more, a little bit more, like I'll tell you why you're thinking that. What my brother called me one day, and he told me thank you actually, and he was like, "Thank you for walking away." And I said, "Why?" And he said, "Because if you didn't, I would have never figured my shit out." He said, because if you stay there and you keep on giving all your energy to me and giving your energy to family, people get comfortable with that. They get comfortable with you just being there all the time because they have this expectation that you're going to be there all the time. Mm-hmm. And he's like, when you walked away and you start taking care of your shit, and you start taking care of your daughter, and you start trying to grow this business, and you start working on yourself and working out and really taking care of mind, body, and soul.
Leading by example.
Yeah, he's like, it made me have to figure it out. He's like, I was like, man, I really wish I had a house to house you and your mom, and like, because there were some things going on where they needed a place to stay, and I couldn't provide long term, right? And so I said, if I had, my land and the way I wanted it set up and everything, I would have housed you. I said, but I wouldn't have asked you to because I would have been too complacent. He said, so by you walking away, he's like, yeah, I was mad at you. Don't get me wrong, but it had to happen for me to grow. And now he's doing real estate. Now he's, what I'm saying? He's doing his thing. Like he's taking care, he's selling houses, he's selling commercial properties. Yeah. That wouldn't have happened if I allowed the complacency to continue. Like if I'm just there all the time, taking that beating all the time, the verbal bullshit and all the bullshit that comes with it, taking all the negativity, then he doesn't see where he needs to grow. And he's like, I'm just glad you did that. He's like, honestly, I respect you. It's hard, but I respect what you did because you put your family and your household and yourself first. And I never really did that. I was always selfless to a fault, really. So yeah, man. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't understand any of those different types of dynamics from personal experience. My shit was just totally different. Like I have a totally different upbringing, just totally different experience as a whole. So I don't even know what to say to what you just said, other than like, okay, good. Yeah, I'm glad y'all whatever. Like, my family's so twisted and confused and just all over the place and beefing and like nobody get along. Just stuff like that. I mean, of course,
like it's similar but different. But I kind of feel like my question for you with that was: do you feel like that is the black family, or do you feel like that's just family?
Because I don't know. I don't know. It's tough. Man. Like as far as like the black family, the black family. My bad.
Oh, you good?
Gets like this sort of stereotype and stigma that I feel like a lot of is induced by media for years, media propaganda and stuff like that.
True too.
That makes the whole look a certain type of way. It's like, bro, my family ain't never acted like that, or like I've never even been around black families that like been like that, et cetera, et cetera. So
yeah.
So as far as just like speaking on like the stereotypes of the black family or whatever. It may be true, may not be true. I know my family. I know how wild they are.
Yeah, I know mine too.
So yeah, we deal with all the issues.
Yeah,
whatever. So
one thing I wanted to ask you too, when we were talking in the car before or off mic when we were talking, you were talking about. I think it was if you had the choice or we were talking about father figures and male figures. And I told you that I experienced leaning more into my grandfather. Because we talked before about my dad and his escapades, my stepdad and his escapades and all that shit, right? So my lean, or the person I leaned into for that or leaned on for that type of influence was always my grandfather. He was the person that was taking me to band, and picking me up from practice and I'll do it. You need to go to golf camp? I'll take him. You need to go to band practice? I'll take him. If it's whatever it was, he was always there. And so a lot of my mannerisms, a lot of my values and principles come from him specifically. Did you have a male figure like that for you?
Yeah, I had a male figure. My dad, who I consider my dad, who raised me. Again, I was adopted, but I was adopted within my family. So my biological mother's aunt and uncle is who raised me. So yeah, the conversation that we was having that had me thinking like, man, if I had to assume something about myself, thinking back when I was a kid, would I have been like a mama's boy or like a daddy's boy? I think naturally, just based on like my natural inclinations and stuff like that, I would have been a daddy's boy.
Why?
So because just having just natural interest and just like wanting to play, like building blocks, being rough, playing sports, like doing stuff, being competitive, like that type of nature within me. That's not like mama's boy type nature. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So the interesting thing in my experience is that intrinsically, I want to gravitate naturally towards my dad, but my father figure in my household, he was a hard dude. So instead of being the person that like I would like gravitate towards like as like a hero or something like that, he really was more like the villain.
Oh, wow.
I mean, just always mad, just always fussing, always fighting. All of my memories, all of my experiences is just full of that. It's just arguing, fussing, fighting, verbal abuse, physical abuse, but a good dude at heart.
Right.
And it sounds even weird to say. It's like, man, if we had to put everybody's resume on paper.
Oh, shit.
If we had to like list out like on paper, like what a person is really like based on our personal experiences, and you just didn't put a name over it. We just described them. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, how would you label this person as like a good dude?
And
it's like, I know your heart, but that's the black family, right?
But that's
you
why I
know
told
your
you
heart.
the title of family to me doesn't really hold the same amount of weight as I've gotten older. Like, I look at the people now around me as like, if you're in my circle for real, it doesn't matter if we're blood or not. Is how are you enriching my life? How am I impacting yours? How are we building each other up? How are we supporting each other? Are you loving me in my lowest? Are you trying to kick me to the curb? Are you there for me in my time of need? Are you there for me when I'm triumphant? And those are the people I look at as family. It ain't just because we have just because you're my cousin or my sister or whoever.
Yeah.
Titles don't really mean as much to me as action. I need the action behind that to match that.
I feel that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, but and at the same time, and it's not even like making excuses for folks, but it's like, man, at least in my experience, a lot of the people that we, let's just say, like hold accountable, like, oh, well, this person in my family didn't do this or didn't do that, or this part of my family always treated me this way negatively, or blah blah blah. A lot of times, like, we holding broken people accountable for. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like these were broken people who basically
I like that.
Like impacted me with their brokenness. And so now that skewed my perception of like family and love and blah, blah, blah. So now, because it seems like a lot of people who look like us, a lot of black people have the same type of experience. We'll just say like in the masses, now it's that's just how they are. So that whole response, even what you said, like, we don't necessarily have to be like blood. We don't necessarily have to be blood to like be family, etc. As I agree with that, I feel like a lot of that, just speaking for I guess black people as a whole, a lot of that really just comes from like trauma responses, like us dealing with
trauma, passing
people.
on trauma. Honestly, man, like, and that's really. And here's the thing: it made me think of something else we were talking about earlier, which is the therapeutic part, right? I know that I am one of the few people in my entire bloodline that takes therapy that damn seriously. Mm-hmm. I could tell you that. When I talked to my mom about therapy, she would kind of half-ass go. She's experienced a lot of trauma in her life. When I talked to, my brother about therapy, love him to death, but I don't know that he's going to a therapist. Mm-hmm. When I talked to all those people that I had these negative encounters with, I can tell if you're going to therapy or not. And you should be able to tell if I'm going too, because if I'm not going there with you, that means something's changed, right? And so I would say even outside of my family, in the black family household, I don't even think therapy is taken that seriously. It's like, how we're always supposed to be so closed-mouthed about everything. Don't talk about finances. Don't talk about politics, religion. Like, we're always like that. But for me, the thing that helped me make that decision was therapy. Mm-hmm. The thing that helped me take myself more seriously was exposing myself to myself.
Yeah.
A lot of people aren't going to stand in front of that mirror and look and say, you know what? It's not him that's the problem. It might be me. And I've done that. And I've stood in front of the mirror and said, am I the problem? And if I am, address it. And if I'm not, okay, well then let's work through whatever this may be. And if I can't work through that, that's where I've exhausted all options.
Yeah.
I'm moving forward.
I mean, that's a form of emotional intelligence that you was talking about earlier, where you even have the ability to be able to look at yourself and be like, am I the problem? And if so, adjust accordingly and, move forward or whatever. Yeah. I personally, bro, like I don't really have a lot of experience with therapists, like actual licensed therapists. Nah.
You've never gone?
Man, to be just totally honest with you, bro, as far as genuine, meaningful therapy sessions, I might have had, 4 or 5 in my lifetime. And
there were actual licensed therapists, or no?
Yeah, that were licensed therapists, and like it was a meaningful session. It might have been 2 from one from another, and then one from another over the course of about like 9 or 10 years.
I was thinking you never went at all.
Nah, but see, the majority of my therapy came from therapeutic conversations with other people, like having mentors and stuff like that.
So you didn't feel like sitting on the couch having an actual formal conversation with a therapist helped you?
So far, it hasn't.
Really?
Not really. Like,
question. Yeah. When you were in therapy, how much were you giving though?
Like with my last therapist, bro, like I was giving it all. Like I was saying stuff like I've never even just like said out loud before, and I hear myself like, dang. But I reached the point where I was like, man, I really got some baggage. I need to like get off my shoulders, bro. Like I'm really ready to change my life in a meaningful way. I'm ready to like stop giving excuses and like pointing fingers and
okay. So question for you: do you give excuses now?
I try not to.
Have you moved into a meaningful space in your life?
I would say so.
Or have you feel like you've grown?
Definitely.
It worked.
Yeah, it worked. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, I haven't went to
because you were saying it didn't work. It worked.
I'm just saying that what worked from those 4 therapy sessions that I mentioned. Nothing.
Oh, I got you. So it was okay.
Like they were just 4 sessions.
So your formal sessions is very far few and in between.
Very far few. We've never really really gotten far into anything. It's like fill out the paperwork. Let me start to kind of get probe you type.
You know how long I've had a therapist? Since the 5th grade.
Same therapist?
I had first it was a white guy.
Yeah.
And my mom spanked me, and he was like, "You want me to call CPS?" I was like, "Okay, this is over." So I was like, "No, I just did some dumb shit. I got in trouble." So that ended quickly. And then we had a black female therapist when I was like probably middle school, high school.
Who's getting these therapists?
My mom was finding them at the time.
But because
at that age, you can't make your own decisions.
I'm about to knock the thing over, bro.
And then, hold on. And then in high school, she chose a black female therapist. That was awesome. And then I found a therapist in college that was a younger white female, and she was cool, but we reached the apex at around 2014 when all the shootings started happening, the police shootings. When that started happening, we kind of reached a point where we kind of couldn't grow anymore because there was just no understanding at that point. So I moved back to having a black female therapist, and I've had her for probably the past 4 or 5 years, and it's been great.
Man, that's wonderful. I heard all of that, but I'm gonna go back to your mama because you was giving the impression that like your mama and them, like none of them had any type of notion to like ever try therapy, go to a therapy, or like use it, or even just like the concept of therapy.
She did it for me, but she didn't do it for herself. There's a difference.
Well, like I get that, but I just mean as far as even just the thought of using therapy to any capacity.
Yeah, she's like probably one out of the few. There's not, and I'm probably thinking of maybe 2. My grandmother went because she lost a son, but that was when she was a lot younger.
Yeah,
and then my mom sent me, but they actively going nobody, me.
Yeah, like I look at my family, like anybody older than me, like parents, aunties, uncles,
they're not doing
all of that. Man, no, and you talking about traumatic events. Yeah, they done been through some like hellified events. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like nah, the idea of a therapist would like never cross their mind.
That's crazy to me though.
I mean,
and I'm speaking from experiences. I know what it did for me, and like knowing what it did for me. And I tell people all the time, like, bro, try it. I'm telling you what it did for me. Yeah. The man you see before you doesn't come in this form without that. There's no way. It's impossible. I was carrying so much shit. There's no way.
I feel like most people be like me to the degree that like it's like, man, I'm gonna just truck it out. Like the only way that I really got into a comfortable like idea, like the only way the idea of like therapy ever like seemed like comfortable to me, I guess, was because again, like I had mentors, and so we would just have conversations and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
And a lot of them have like different careers, like one's a chaplain at like a major hospital in San Francisco. You know, another one's pastors and so on and so forth. So of course they had their different qualifications and stuff, which helped with like that therapeutic conversation and process. But like, if it wasn't for those conversations being had, just the whole idea of like ever going to therapy never would have really just crossed my mind. I would just deal with the baggage and wish that the baggage was gone, but like not know how to do it.
Let's ask Becky, how do you feel about therapists? I want to know. I'm curious.
How do I feel about
therapy? Therapy, having a therapist, therapy.
Everyone can benefit from talking to a professional who doesn't have like
Bias.
a stake in their life. It's a strictly professional relationship. Someone who's trained, and then it has to be like a long, sustained relationship. I think too, for you to get any benefit, like any other relationship.
Have you personally gone to a therapist?
See, that was a safe answer.
No, she gave me. This is a good answer,
A
but
lot of my friends are therapists. I never.
so you gotta
It
got
just
you.
wasn't covered.
Yeah.
Until recently, so I'm looking for one now. But
If you need one, I got one. She's amazing. Crystal, shout out to Crystal. She's amazing. But yeah, see, like, so in theory, I don't think people really go. And so with that not being at the forefront, I kind of felt like I told my mom this one time too, man. I said, I wish we could all sit down in a room together and just hammer this shit out. Because I feel like if we did, we don't get here. If we had a continent, it didn't have to be like all of us go every week.
Who is all of us?
The nucleus
Immediate
of
family?
the nucleus of the family, yeah.
Immediate, just your house, or like her siblings and all of that?
Oh, it's that too.
Okay, so not just immediate, like
Right.
your whole. Okay,
Yeah, that core of uncle, aunt, that whole.
okay.
That,
So there's issue there.
oh, everywhere.
All right. So, but let's boil it down to immediate household. Is there issues there?
My household now?
Like you, your mama, your daddy, your siblings.
Well, my daddy is what is it, Halloween ghost? Yeah, he's a ghost.
Got you.
So,
Right.
But
Okay.
my mom, yeah. I mean, not that we have personal issues, no.
No personal
But
issues?
We don't have really like personal issues, but it's sides to things. You get what I'm saying?
Okay,
And
I might. Telling on myself. Nick, tell it. I don't know what you're saying. I'm not a mind reader.
Because that gives me a lot. Okay,
It do.
so she's in a position where the family that she is close to, I will never have association
When
with.
you say the family she is close to, like,
Cousins, uncles, all that.
Okay.
I will never have association with them again, ever in life.
okay.
That's just a done deal.
Okay, so she cool with people in your family that you're not cool with.
And I can't bring them around because I can't bring my daughter around her because they're always around her.
Okay.
And also she has some mental stuff where she really can't. She really needs like assistance and stuff. So it's tough.
Question. So, like, if you think about like the actual emotion itself, because I'm just curious.
Oh, go ahead.
If you think about the emotion, like, what emotion do you get or do you experience when you think about in your mind that being a fact that my mother is like willfully like cool with portions of my family that she know like I really have like a distaste for?
What I think about is jab, left hook, straight, slip, don't slip, because you'll get hit back. Roll, hook, run 5 miles. I work it out and I go to therapy. That's what I think about. Promise you, when I'm hitting that bag, all that shit comes to mind. When I'm on the treadmill and I'm running 4 or 5 miles trying to get this weight off, all that comes to mind. When I'm in my therapy sessions, all that comes to mind. Outside of that, I never think about it because outside of that, Kennedy's at home and she's climbing on me and the dog needs to go piss and I got to cook food and I got a meal prep and I need to get Becky these timestamps on time, which is hard to do. I need to talk to John. And you get what I'm saying? Like, I have so much other shit that I don't even have to think about anymore because I've worked that out in therapy. So I'm talking to you this week about it because obviously it's fresh. It just October 4th is what, 2 or 3 days ago?
Yeah.
So that's why it's really on my forefront. But outside of that, probably won't come up again in my head for a long time, man. And it's been like that.
So do you feel like you make yourself like busy to like avoid stuff? Never.
No, because no, I don't, because I did address it in therapy. And if I do have any inkling of it, it's typically when I'm doing something like working out. But I think about all the things that piss me off when I work out on purpose so that I can get a good workout in. So it's not like it's just there, but I can pull from shit to get that. You know how, let me give you an example. Tom Brady always needs to have an enemy to perform well. He said that. He said, I have to have an adversary to perform well. So I'll find somebody on the opposite side of the field and okay, that motherfucker today. Okay, it's going to be him all day. And that's how he was able to lock in. And so for me, it's a tool at this point. It's not like it festers in me or anything. To me now, those memories of the negativity I use as a tool when I need to like fuel myself. Okay, I'm kind of dragging ass this gym day. Well, who really pisses you off? Jab. You see what I mean? So that's how, for me, that's how I've used it. I use it as a tool. I've addressed it. I'm cool with what happened. It is what it is. I can't change the heart of a man. I can't make people change. I can only work on myself. And so that's how I've approached it.
Oh, understandable.
Sounds crazy, don't it?
Nah, not at all.
Really?
Man.
Okay. Cool.
Sounds like your personal preference. So, like, how did your therapist teach you to deal with people? Let's just say, like, in your family that have like, I'll put it like this. Let's just say, how did your therapist tell you to deal with people in your family who may have like done something that you felt like was like them stabbing you in the back and they never apologized for it? How did she tell you to handle that?
Remove said person from your life.
Okay, so if that's your mother, if your mother done something that you felt like she stabbed you in the back and she's never apologized for it.
I'm cold, bro.
You just remove mother. That's how your therapist tells you to just...
It's not that she's saying specifically remove, but she's saying you have to learn when to detach yourself from things that don't serve you anymore.
Well, how would she initially tell you to go through the whole forgiveness / reconciliation process?
Well, that's part of what therapy is. Like, you can do your forgiveness within that session. It doesn't have to, they never have to know you forgave. I forgave them all. Don't make no mistake about it. I'm not mad at anybody. Right. I've forgiven everybody. It is what it is, because life goes on.
And this is the real point that I really wanted to get to. Like, the whole, you can forgive like privately, but what is she ever encouraged to do as far as the hard part? Doing like personally, like with that person? Well,
the hard part was I did that. I tried to have those conversations, but you got to know when you're in those conversations where each other are, what level. You got to meet people on the level they are, and if people are on a certain level that you're not willing to go to, then there's nothing. To me, it's an impasse. You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. To me, at this point, we're at a stalemate because I'm here on this growth pattern. I'm constantly branching out like the multiverse. Like a fucked up timeline. I'm just going everywhere. I'm trying to grow, right? I'm trying to figure my own shit out. And at the same time, I'm trying to help this little person figure herself out. And so I only got so much energy in this timeline to give to the bullshit. Like, I don't want to get it. Also, stress kills. I don't want to have high stress factors. That equals more cortisol. That equals more fat. That equals me retaining weight. That equals me having strokes and shit. Like, when you really start looking at the impact of stress, you'll start cutting shit out real fast. And especially if you know with black men, we have heart problems and heart disease and all this kind of shit. A lot of it comes from stress. We already have the world bearing down on our shoulders for whatever said reason. So why would I want to take that type of stress from family and sew it into my life? I'd rather have a positive, happy life with the family that I've built and the friends that I've carried that have been there for me for real. And the rest of y'all can kick rocks. That's just, it is no shade to you. I don't hate you, but we just can't rock. There's nothing we have to talk about. I'm over here on this page. You're on that page. Different book. Cool.
Yeah, no, I feel it. I understand that, especially if you've made some sort of, and I ain't talking about you specifically, but just in general. I feel that if you've made some sort of like honest attempt. Can we grab our next guest from downstairs real quick? Okay. If you've made an honest attempt to like reach out to a person.
It's Mr. You know who he is? Okay, cool.
But yeah, like I feel like if you made that honest attempt to like reach out to a person, a family member or whatever, and for whatever reason they were just unwilling to either do it or just unwilling to hear you out or whatever, and they just totally just dismissive and all of that, then I could see a person being like,
that's pretty much what it was, bro. It was just like, oh, he ain't gonna be shit. Oh, who you think he is? He's selfish. It's like, bro, she's two. It's like this. If I'm so stressed out about that, you and I can't have a good conversation.
Yeah.
If I'm so stressed out about that, I'm not constantly. I've been losing weight because I'm happy. Part of weight loss is being happy. I've been losing weight constantly because I'm happy. When I was stressed out, I was retaining weight. I was retaining stress. Blood pressure's high. I'm every day. Everything going great. You see it all on my face. You can see the anger and the sadness. I don't want to present like that, man. And how am I supposed to give that to my kid? Because they don't know, at 2, they don't know anything but energy.
Yeah.
And whatever little phrases they've learned, and they understand a little bit of call and response. But when you look at that, when I look at her, that's my everything. So the hell with all this other shit.
Yeah, for sure.
Because this is about her. And I want to make sure that she doesn't go through all that. I want to make sure that her timeline is as beautiful and as happy and as fruitful as it possibly can be. And if it takes me removing some things, well, that's just what it's got to be, bro.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
you can call it selfish as you want to, but I don't give a damn.
Yeah,
She's everything to me. And I'm going to do whatever I got to do to make sure she's all right.
for sure.
So that's how I've addressed it. I know that's weird for people. Like, how could you cut your family up? Yeah, man, cool. A lot of y'all need to do the same shit, to be quite honest. A lot of y'all need to consider doing that, and you might be a little happier. Yeah. Consider cutting some people off your life. I've cut a lot of people out of my life, bro. And people have cut me out of their life, too. At some points, I'm sure I was toxic, too. Yeah. But I've taken the high road of cutting toxicity and just growing. That's it, man.
I feel like, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah. With me, I've been the cutoff person all of my life, the majority of my life.
Where you cut people off?
Oh, I cut.
Man, quick.
I cut any and everybody off like immediately for just anything. I mean, it don't even have to be that deep.
It's like you breathing on me. Get out of here.
Nah, for real. Like I really separate myself. But for me, of course, like my reason is, of course, different from anybody else's. I started that, it was just a trauma response. Like separation and isolate, running from my problems and stuff like that. So I started there early on, and it just kind of carried on into adulthood. But of course, through therapy and conversation. I ain't gonna say therapeutic conversations and stuff like that. I'm gonna get you in therapy
one of these days.
Man, we can
go together, bro.
I got a therapist and all of that like now.
Brothers doing therapy, we can go together.
Yeah,
I don't know what the hell we have. We don't have anything to fight or talk about, but as a team. But I can go with you. I'll be your support system, bro. I got you.
Yeah, I mean, I get my therapy on, but it's yeah, so pretty much, my stuff just started as trauma response. Yeah. Ended up going on into adulthood, but through these different, conversations and growing and being intentional with it, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's definitely helped me to kind of see a different way. So now I guess I done kind of grown to the point to where it's like, instead of just cutting them off now I'm just ready to venture and do the opposite. The thing that I haven't explored.
Right.
Being more intentional about being that bigger person, trying to bring reconciliation, facilitating peace, as opposed to how I've always been, violent, aggressive, whatever.
I need to get you with some gloves on, bro. Get some of that out of you.
Oh, man, we do the boxing too, bro.
Let's do it. Well, any positive words for the people? We don't have there's no conclusion or anything. I just want to talk to you there. There's no wrap up or this,
Yeah, positive words for the people.
Don't say stay in school.
Nah, bro. Nah, I just say I give them a real one. I mean, it's a real simple one, man. You know, just forgive people, bro. Like life is short at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And just know that as I'm telling you, I'm literally talking to myself. So,
yeah. My piece is, don't be afraid to move forward, whatever that entails. If it means that you have to remove said person or said bad behavior, or whatever that is, don't be afraid to move forward, and don't be afraid to put yourself and your family and your household first.
For sure.
Just because there's a title on a person doesn't mean that that's your person. So find your tribe, move forward, and make yourself happy. That's my piece.
For sure.
Again, November 10th, live show. Get the tickets. Go on our Instagram at the Prophetic Pod or at Celestial Beer Works, and you can find that ticket link there. It's on Eventbrite. Come out and celebrate with us. I'm sure he'll be there. A lot of this stuff beer. We have a new beer coming out, so you can check out the Prophetic Discourse beer that's coming out. So be a good time.
Yeah, I'm gonna be there getting drunk. I'm just playing. I don't even
drink. Oh, wait, I'm not supposed to be. I gotta host the shit. But as always, we appreciate you guys for listening. We hope that you learn. We hope that you grow. We hope that you evolve. Of course, we hope you come back and kick it with us all over again. As my boy Trevor would say, we prophetic. But, we appreciate y'all, man.
For sure. Yeah. Appreciate the people.
Yeah, we appreciate y'all.
Appreciate y'all. All right, bye.
Bye. We prophetic.